Yeah, starting a new week right now, 5 minutes after 8 o'clock. Beautiful, beautiful Monday morning. And believe it or not, the temperature dropped a degree. It was 58, now it's 57 degrees. But the weatherman says look for it to climb to 85 before today's over. And then dropping to 57 again tonight. Tomorrow the same. And then Wednesday we see temperatures climbing into the lower 90s. And that'll continue for a couple of days. Before Friday, there's some rain, and that'll bring the temperatures down just a little bit. Galen Unold is on the phone from LifeSouth Community Blood Center. Good morning, Galen.
Hey, good morning, Larry, Robin. How are y'all?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm okay.
How was your weekend? How was your weekend?
It was good. Yeah, it was fine. Enjoyed it.
So I have something. I mean, today's segment might be completely about blood donations because of a fan of yours, and I'll tell you that in a second. But I also wanted to squeeze in the basketball thing, okay?
Yeah.
Because I have no clue what to say about it, so I'll have to ask you to say something. Anyway, what happened was, you know how we record these interviews with you? And we put them up on YouTube.
Right.
And every once in a while, there'll be somebody who comments on one of the videos. We've got so many up there over the past few years. Sometimes people will discover interviews that are 5, 6 years old, you know, and then they'll comment on it. But we'll still get the notice that somebody commented on it. Well, somebody commented without a comment. They just tagged a link to a website, bnl.gov. And I didn't... I'm sure it made sense when I looked at it. Now I can't remember what it meant. But anyway, it was a list of 56 facts about blood and blood donation. And I thought, okay, they must want us to talk about this. And I thought, well, I'm sure you've talked about all these things in the past, how many years we've been doing this. But it's always good to go over them again. So I'll kind of tell you what they say. And just, if you have anything to add to them, I'm sure they'll be... It's a learning experience. We haven't done this in a while, so I thought we'd do it today.
Okay, sounds good.
So did you watch the basketball game yesterday?
Yeah. I mean, I watched a lot of basketball this weekend.
And?
That weekend where right before baseball season starts. Well, I mean, if you're a Florida Gator fan, you have to be elated coming out of Friday night. Somehow the Gators pulled that off in overtime. And I remember I'm watching them going, gosh, I just want to go to bed. I was so tired. And then after the game, you're so jacked up because it was such a great game. You can't sleep. So it was a phenomenal game.
That must be the one Robin's brother commented on, because he all caps he wrote on Facebook, "What a game!" I figured, well, it must have been a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and and that's why they call it March Madness, and that's a perfect example of that. And then yesterday, Florida lost to South Carolina, kind of a back and forth game, and the Florida just could not make a shot. The last 10 minutes of the game, they just could not make a shot. So they had plenty of chances to win. And, if you look, I think Florida's the most winningest team in the last 20 years in the NCAAs.
Wow.
So I think they've had the most success. So, Florida's not just a football school anymore. And again, they proved it with another coach going to the Elite Eight.
Well, that's
because it's the fourth coach that's gone to the Elite Eight. That's pretty good.
So, but does yesterday's loss disappoint everybody?
I really expected them to win. In the regular season, they split with South Carolina. They each won a game in SEC play. I don't know if you really asked fans, if you said before the tournament started, you said, hey, you're going to make the Elite Eight. I think most Gator fans would say, yeah, that's about where we belong. I think most of them would be happy if they just made a Sweet 16. But they had every opportunity to win that game. I don't know if disappointed is the right word after they absolutely took one. They had no right to win Friday night, to be honest with you, or Saturday night.
Okay.
Saturday. No, Friday night. Yeah, Friday night. They just pulled it out there. I don't know how in the world they won that game.
Okay. So now we're down to how many teams?
Four. So
this is the big grand finale, huh?
Yeah, next week starts. So next weekend starts. So yeah, you'll be hearing all about the. It's crazy. You got 3 teams who haven't been there before or haven't been there in nearly 100 years, and then you got North Carolina, who's there all the time. So It's kind of interesting. South Carolina's never been there. Oregon hasn't been there since 1939. And Gonzaga has never been there. So, and then you got Carolina, who's there all the time.
So,
it'll be fun.
Are your boys into basketball? Your two sons?
No, not really. I mean, the Florida game just because it was an exciting game.
So who are the two guys your wife posted? They're relatives. They're 6'8". Are they cousins?
Those are her nephews, and that's her sister's children.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my wife is the shortest person in her family, and she's like 5'9".
Oh, really?
So
that's taller than me.
Like 6'1".
Wow.
Yeah, her sister is 6'1". And yeah, that's where my boys get all their height from.
Ah, okay. So are they basketball players? Those two guys?
No, they play football. Both play football.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, they look more like football players when I saw the photo of them.
Yeah. One works for Chick-fil-A at their headquarters in Atlanta, and the other one is a sheriff in Jackson.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Okay, all right. So let me do this real quick. BNL.gov. I want to see what it is because I forgot what it was. BNL.gov is the Brookhaven National Laboratory.
Okay.
So that's who I was linked to, and now I don't know who posted this on. It was an interview we did with you like 3 years ago. And so they must have just been listening to it, whatever, and who knows? I don't even remember what the topic was because we were all over the map. But it was 56 facts about blood and blood donation. So if I start at the beginning, and that's going to take a long time to get to 56. But I wanted to go down a few.
Okay.
Where it talks about some of the things you've talked about before. Number 45, for example. I'll just kind of jump all over the map here.
So the guy that posted it liked the Galen.
Yeah, he didn't have anything bad to say, or she. Who knows? I don't even know who did it.
Good, I'm glad.
All right. In the days following the September 11th attacks, 500,000 people donated blood. You've told us that many times.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one thing. Females receive 53% of the blood transfused. Males receive 47%. Whatever.
Yeah, and that has more to do with the population breakdown than it does anything else.
Okay.
And then you add in the fact that women have pregnancies, and there you go.
Yeah. Let's see. 94% of all blood donors are registered voters.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like that.
So in other words,
yeah, we've talked about that many times.
But what does that mean? Here, I'll tell you what that means to me. That tells me that people who consider their responsibility to make sure, the government is run the way it is run, are also taking the responsibility to make sure there's a blood supply.
Absolutely. Well, they're community-minded individuals who are going to take time to
that's a better
help
way.
their community.
Yeah, that's a better way.
And you have to be committed to your community. There's a lot of places where you go where there's transient's the wrong word, but they're new to the area, and they're not necessarily right away built into donating blood. So if you move to a brand new town, your first act isn't going to be, oh, okay, well, let me give blood. You know what I mean? It's going to go down and find out where do I like to eat, and you don't start donating blood until you're comfortable within a community, typically. And then we're going to go to where you work, or where you pray, or where you eat, or where you play, or something like that, and that's why you're going to donate blood.
Yeah, that was a better way of saying that. Okay, the next one, I like this one. This one says a lot, too. 60% of the U.S. population is eligible to donate, but only 5% do so.
And that number is constantly changing, the 60%. The 5% I agree with. I'm just not sure about the 60% because it's constantly changing. I think it's kind of a little lower now since we have some of the newer restrictions, but it's also opening up because of the medication. And what I tell people is don't let that number frighten you by any stretch. Come in, call us. We could tell you over the phone if some of the medications you're taking or some of the conditions you have if you're eligible to donate. So just call us. We'd love to help you. 622-3544.
There you go. There you go.
Give us a call.
Yeah, that is the main reason we do this segment. We have fun with Galen, and of course, if we talked about blood every day, the whole half hour, it would really not be a good segment. But it is good sometimes to dedicate the segment to the very purpose Galen comes on. So that's why I thought I would do this. I mean, we got this, and this is kind of impressive. The Brookhaven National Laboratory. Where is that? Do you know where that is? Where is that?
I think it's in. I think it's like a New Hampshire, Massachusetts, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. But
stay on the website.
Oh, Upton, New York. It says Brookhaven National Laboratory,
there you go.
Upton, New York.
Even close.
So you got fans all over the place, Galen. You just never know.
Yeah, well,
pretty
you guys
awesome.
do. I just ride your coattails.
Oh, you're right. All right, let me take a break. This is kind of we'll focus on blood today. On the other side, I'll continue this. This is from a list that was attached to one of our conversations with Galen from 3 years ago. 56 facts about blood and blood donation. We'll continue that on the other side. First, though, let's thank Palm Garden of Ocala and Penn Flooring. They are responsible for making sure that this announcement is possible. They're sponsors, in other words. Palm Garden of Ocala, thank you. If you ever need a skilled nursing facility, go to Palm Garden of Ocala. They've got their act together. Whether it's for health needs, rehabilitative needs, following heart surgery, you're going to need some rehabilitation before you go home. You could go home, but it's really smart to have skilled nursing staff right at your disposal. Is that a good word, disposal?
I think so.
It's a horrible word, disposal. but anyway, go to Palm Garden. You'll see why we love them so much. They are at 2700 Southwest 34th Street. And Penn Flooring. The flooring here at WOCA was put in by Penn Flooring. It's durable. It's beautiful. It's a whole different kinds. We got the wooden flooring, well, the artificial wood. We've got the carpet. We've got the other vinyl, and etc. Go see for yourself what you can do to remodel your home from the floor up. They are at 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just across from the McKay Williams Bridge. I believe when Dan sat in for us last Wednesday, he had them in here, right?
Yes.
Talking about this?
Yep, he sure did.
And then, of course, let's thank our friend who cleaned our carpets. His name is Jairus Palmer. What you need to remember is the name of his business, which is Silverback Restoration. He does carpeting, he does flooring, he does upholstery, he does tile and grout cleaning. Anyway, give him a call, 414-5312. He's kind of an honorary sponsor. So we'll take a little break and be right back with Galen and the facts about blood donations from the Brookhaven National Laboratory. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Sunshine mixing with clouds Monday with a high of 78 on the coast, 85 inland. Partly cloudy Monday night, low 56 to 60. For Tuesday, mostly sunny, nice and warm. The afternoon high 80 on the coast, but 88 inland. For Wednesday, very warm with some sunshine, high 83 on the coast, approaching 90 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
This is Jan from Palm Garden, and Thursday, March 30th, Doctor's Day. It is with great appreciation for the tireless dedication and professionalism of all the doctors we work with to celebrate and honor them on Doctor's Day. Right, Jennifer?
Right, Jan. And as the Executive Director of Palm Garden, I would like to single out our own wonderful medical directors, Eladio Diegas and Sig Clevenger. So we wish them a happy Doctor's Day on March 30th, and thank you from Palm Garden.
If you or a loved one is suffering with knee, shoulder, neck or back pain, plantar fasciitis, peripheral neuropathy, and even tennis elbow, and would like to learn about how there are treatments that may benefit you, go to drjuanyordan.com, then listen in on the first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. and hear from health professionals doing these treatments and patients who have benefited from them. First and third Thursdays, 10 a.m. Next Generation MD, right here on The Source.
The NFL alumni is sponsoring a Clays for Kids, a sporting event to benefit the Marion County Children's Charity. The event will take place at the Robinson Ranch in Inglis, Florida on Saturday, April 8th. Call 427-0950 for detailed information. The NFL alumni will provide gift bags, breakfast, lunch, prizes, and drawings throughout the day. Call 427-0950 for detailed information on the Clay for Kids sporting event, hosted by the NFL alumni.
20 minutes after 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Galen Unold is on the phone from LifeSouth Community Blood Center. If you have a question, by the way, for Galen, this is a good time to call. The number is 622-9622, and I'm guessing that you could probably call LifeSouth anytime if you have a question about donating blood. I'm guessing sometimes the calls are about receiving blood. Am I right, Galen? Do you ever get those calls? Like, I'm going into the hospital. Can I sign up for some blood? Or I'm guessing that's not exactly what you would handle, but people sometimes make those calls. Am I right?
Right, yeah. I actually get a lot of those, and it's usually for a family member where the family member's coming in to donate blood, and they're going to be using blood for a significant amount of time, something like that. So I deal with I get forwarded all of those just because I've dealt with them for the last 15 years. So.
This is something you have brought up a lot. 17% of non-donors say they never thought about it as the main reason for not giving.
Right. Number one reason why people don't give blood is they've never been asked, and that's why I love this show. I love this opportunity because I can personally ask everybody who's listening to my voice to give blood. That's huge.
15% say they're too busy. But the number one reason why donors do give blood is because they want to help others. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I've said this before. There's nothing really in it for the blood donor, other than to save a life. I mean, we talk about some of the benefits of doing a health check, the free physical that you get, but for the most part, you do it because it's the right thing to do, and they're saving someone's life.
Number 44 on this list is sickle cell disease. Is an inherited disease that affects more than 80,000 people in the U.S., 98% of whom are of African descent. Some patients with complications from severe sickle cell disease receive blood transfusions every month, up to 4 pints at a time. So you think about that. That's 4 times 80, what's that, Robin? 320,000?
Yeah.
320,000 pints of blood. That's a lot of blood, huh? Just for that one disease.
Well, and again, sickle cell is a disease that can't be cured. If the mother and the father find out that they both have the trait, they just shouldn't have a child, because the risk is so high. It's like 80-something% if you both have the trait that your child's going to have the disease.
Wow.
And that's the issue. That's the underlying issue, because this is something that we could get rid of in one generation. You just have to know if you have the trait, and then make the right decision for your child, because the life expectancy of somebody with sickle cell is 40. 40.
Gosh.
And those 40 years are going to be filled with visits to the hospital, and there's never going to be a time where you're actually considered healthy. So, it's about a quality of life issue at that time.
The next one, this is a pretty mind-boggling statistic. About 3 gallons of blood supports the entire nation's blood need for 1 minute. Have you ever heard that before?
Gosh.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's the same thing as if you look at every 2 seconds someone receives a blood transfusion. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you could just break down that number any way you want, but
so how many? What's
it comes down to? So for example, in LifeSouth, just in the 3 states that we supply, right? It's 120 something hospitals. We have to have about it's about 950 donations a day in order to support that. That's 7 days a week. That's 360 3 days a year. It's constant. It's absolutely constant. So any time in which we fall below that 950 mark, or usage exceeds that 950 mark, that's when we start getting into shortages.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Robert, how many? I should know this. How many pints in a gallon? 8?
8.
Yep.
Yeah, 8.
All right, so that means 24 donors. It takes 24 donors to fill the needs for 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Wow.
24 people. It's all going to be used in 1 minute.
Gosh.
Holy cow.
Everybody who is donating blood for stepping up to the
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Unsung
Let's
heroes.
go to the phone. Somebody did call. Thank you for calling. Good morning. You're on the air with Galen.
Yes, good morning. The question for Galen. See, Galen, a donator has extra high cholesterol in their blood, and they donate. That doesn't get passed down to a recipient. Is that like filtered out of the blood, and how do they do that?
Well, what happens is once you donate, then your unit is broken down into different components, and in the centrifuge, it's just expressed out. So we're making plasma, red cells, platelets, or maybe cryo or something like that out of it. So when we do that, the most of the cholesterol, you can't say all, but most of the cholesterol ends up in the waste bag.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that interesting?
That's interesting.
Wow.
So cool.
All right. Let's see. Blood donation takes 4 steps: medical history, quick physical, donation, and snacks. Now, all right. Now let me talk about this, because the first one is medical history. I'm wondering how many people would look at that and say, "Well, I don't know my medical history. I don't think I'm going to go. I'm not going to know the answer to those questions." Right? Mm-hmm. But it's really easy. I mean, if you've never done it.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
You don't have to.
Well, we call it an interview, and we call it the interview and physical, because again, we don't want it to. We want to make it as open and as, we don't want people to be afraid of the whole process. So that's why we call it interview and physical. A lot of people use it medical history. I just don't like that term either.
Yeah, because that would scare me away. If I didn't know, I would say, well, what does that mean? I got to bring my files with me? What does that mean? I wouldn't know.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Here's my X-rays from my arm that I broke when I was 9. Right. Yeah, I mean, that's not what it's about. We ask you all the questions. You say yes or no.
Yeah, right.
Do all of the people that are employed by LifeSouth, are they all eligible donors?
No. I mean, we could, unfortunately, we can't hire people if they're not a blood donor. Mm-hmm. We frown upon it. We expect them to be. This is the rule that I always say. I said, if you work for LifeSouth, you have to be willing to donate. You may not be eligible. You may be a deferral because of travel reasons, or you may have some type of a heart condition. Fine, but you have to be willing to, because if you're not, you're a hypocrite.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Bottom line. And I tell people that all the time. So now I will say the majority of people that work for us are blood donors. Mm-hmm. Vast majority.
So I'll read 2 more. The second to the last one is every 3 seconds someone needs blood. I guess Galen kind of said that already.
That number's all over the place. It could be 2. It's somewhere between 2 and 3 seconds, depending on which numbers you look at. So I
would say it this way: if you're visiting anybody in the hospital, just peek into the rooms you're walking past. You'll probably see a blood product hanging from a line on many of them. Okay, so the last one, maybe the most important. I don't know. 4.5 million Americans. 4.5 million Americans would die each year without blood donors, without getting a blood transfusion.
Right.
Gosh.
Right. And I like to say it on the positive side. If donating blood and blood donation is a philanthropic act on the planet. More people donate blood than give to any charity or give to or volunteer or anything else like that. It's the most philanthropic act on the planet.
So we said all of that to say this: donate blood. It takes about a half hour. This sheet of paper says it takes about an hour. My experience is it's usually maybe 40 minutes at the most. Mm-hmm. But I guess I could see it being an hour easy. So go to LifeSouth.
It depends on if there's a wait or not. But yeah.
Where is the Bloodmobile today?
Today we're out at Bellevue. We're right there in the shopping center where Walgreens is at. So,
nice.
All right. So if you see the Bloodmobile and look at your watch, say, "Oh, I got an hour." Go sit in there. It's relaxing. You'll meet some nice people, and more importantly, you'll save some lives. If you don't see this, if you just want to go to the LifeSouth Center, it's on Silver Springs Boulevard. At what's the address again?
1607.
1607
East Silver Springs Boulevard.
All right. Thank you, Galen. Have a great day. We'll be right back.
Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. Republicans still assessing the damage after failing last week to get a new health care plan through the House. President Trump blaming conservative lawmakers for not compromising.
His chief of staff, Reince Priebus, says it may be a sign a broader coalition is needed.
We are willing to talk to anyone.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer on ABC's This Week says his party will help as long as the goal isn't to repeal or undermine the law.
We have ideas, they have ideas.
Republican leaders say the next legislative item is tax reform.
Fox's Jared Halpern. The Final Four said in the NCAA tournament.
The trademark of South Carolina, their defense, may have just sealed this one.
South Carolina beats Florida 77-70 on CBS. They'll play Gonzaga next. North Carolina edged Kentucky 75-73. They'll meet Oregon. Both games this Saturday night. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Can you tell if this burger contains bacteria that could cause kidney failure? Listen.